Early Thursday morning, we had some torrential downpours that have left the creeks flooded and the inside of the shop way too wet to try and prep for concrete. And that has my concrete guy pretty concerned. So Roger Dorsey stopped by this morning to check on me and see how things are coming. What's going on, gentlemen? Hey, tell them a story. Very first time we ever worked on a job with Roger Dorsey, me and Billy came on the job, and that's the very first thing Michael ever said to Billy. Michael's quite a character. He's worked with Roger Dorsey for years along with Roger's brother, and we've always taken good care of each other anytime either of our families have ever needed help. And speaking of families needing help, my brother was in the house collecting a check from my wife so that he can go pick up parts to fix my excavator, which he blames me for abusing. But as usual, he's wrong. I need my excavator fixed.
Parts just came in.
Chop chop.
Yeah. Try not to break it. It's not a hammer digging machine.
I was digging with it when it broke. No. I wasn't digging anything for my barn. I was digging a tree stump out for the neighbor. Now, Jeremy's accusing me of using my excavator as a hammer to break up concrete. But the truth of the matter is, the machine's just about wore out. But I need it fixed so I can dig my electric lines and my downspout drains. So Jeremy jumped in his fire truck and headed over to Bobcat to pick up parts for it. While Jeremy's taking care of that for me, Kenny's getting ready to pull my Nova in the shop so that we can get a few odds and ends tidied up on the car before we try to start testing. The main thing for this morning is to get the CO2 bottle mounted in the car securely so that it's not rolling around on the floor pan. The guys in the shop were just about finished with that project when Jeremy rolled back in the fire truck. And judging by the look on his face, he's not too happy. I've been after him pretty hot and heavy to get this excavator fixed for a week. He claims he ordered the parts a week ago. The only problem is when the parts came in, they were wrong. So now he's in a big hurry to try and get this thing apart and figure out some way of making a repair without spending a bunch of money on parts. Initially, the part he was quoted as needing from Bobcat was about $850. That's not so bad. But when he got there this morning, he found out the part he actually needs is $2,500 plus shipping.
I'll be back here in a few hours.
A few hours?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to make something.
So while Jeremy's headed up to the farm to try and figure out some way of fixing my excavator, me and June Pup hop into Malibu and we head down to see Mark at Buckeye Lake to pay my monthly parts bill.
You seen your brother?
Oh yeah, I've seen him all right.
Oh.
Luckily for you, you're not the one dealing with him on Bobcat parts.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I sent him to Bobcat to order a part for my excavator and he had him order the wrong thing. So that puts us a week behind.
Oh, no.
And then when he figured out what the price was on the part that I actually need, it was $2,500.
Oh, wow.
So he's going to go whittle something up.
Oh, he is, huh?
Yeah.
His little magic pile of stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. We'll see how that turns out.
I've mentioned before that Jeremy, my brother, is a lot like Oscar the Grouch off Sesame Street. He lives in a trash can and he doesn't throw anything away.
Don't bother me!
Which definitely comes in handy from time to time, but he's also very grouchy.
What we have here is most definitely 100% lack of maintenance. I mean, lack of maintenance. Here's what the hole kinda should look like, and here's what we have. Now, thanks Bobcat, we don't have the part, and then, yeah, they let us know that the part we want's $3,000. F that. Try to find some pieces to put in here. See what I got laying around in my junk pile.
Sure enough, Jeremy dug around in his junk pile and found something he can use to make these repairs.
What I'm doing here is I'm marking my outside edge, put this new bushing in to fill the wear gap, and then I'm burning in as hot and heavy as I can. They're not gonna be pretty, but it'll hold.
So Brother Buckwheat gets busy with his welder and starts trying to make these repairs to my brackets without costing me an arm and a leg.
For you youngins out there, this is what it's called filling the gap. Something your mamas will understand.
Once he had the new bushings welded in, it was time to remove the broken off bolt and replace it with a new one.
Welded a nut up to it. See how this goes.
Obviously, work like this is a little bit easier if you've got someone there to film for you.
Yeah, put this camera down.
Jeremy did manage to get the bolt extracted and a new bolt installed. Once all the repairs were made, he brought all the parts back down to my shop and began reassembling the excavator to test it and make sure that everything works the way it should. Then it was time to reattach the bucket and reinstall the pins. This quick detach for the Bobcat buckets is pretty simple and handy to use, but a little bit tricky if you've never installed a bucket like this by yourself. Jeremy managed to figure it out though, got the pins driven in, and he was ready to start digging, or at least somebody was. Now that we've got the excavator fixed, all we need now is a little cooperation from Mother Nature. But we didn't get that. What we did get was more rain overnight, which left us with heat, humidity, and lots of mud. The construction crew finished up the 3 dormers on the roof and called it a day. But thankfully out in my old shop, we've got air conditioning and we're forging ahead on the 55 Chevy project with hopes of hearing the engine run and maybe have the car running and driving by next week. Rob went ahead and put the priming tool down in the engine, fired up his drill motor, and began priming the engine to get oil up to the rocker arms about the same time that my next load of gravel was pulling up out front. I had a load of 57s delivered earlier this week, but Roger wants to use 411 crushed limestone and compact it with a compactor underneath the shop floor. This helps protect the styrofoam that we're going to put down underneath the concrete, both as insulation and to hold the PEX pipe that will heat the concrete floor from underneath. Once my crushed limestone was delivered and paid for, it was time for me to hit the road with June Pup in the 64 and go pick up alcohol for both the boys' race cars for the weekend. So we made a quick trip down to Logan to visit Basil Oils, pick up 2 drums of methanol, and turn and burn back to the house in time to meet up with a friend of mine who's bringing a Ford pickup truck by this afternoon that has one of my ATM E85 carburetors on it. I loaned Sebastian my 950 off the Malibu to see how his big block Ford likes it. Well, 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 look who it is. My little Ford buddy. This old 1978 Ford F-150 was Sebastian's very first vehicle, and he's built this 460 big block Ford with some compression in it, which requires the truck to run on race gas, which is pretty expensive. So he's eager to try E85 in this thing and see if the truck runs any cooler and if it makes any more power. I told him that I would help him set the idle mixture screws, set the idle speed, and took the truck around the block just to make sure that the power valves and everything were working properly and that it didn't have any drivability issues. The truck definitely runs cooler and is a lot more responsive. So what do you think of that carburetor so far?
Oh, I love it.
Do you?
Oh, it's so snappy.
It is snappy.
It's, yeah, and not to mention the price. $85. Can't beat that.
So you're going to take it down the track and try to run it tonight?
Yeah. We'll see
Even
how
though it's hot as blazing hell outside.
Yeah. Worth a shot, right?
Well, let me know. Well, let me know how it does.
Oh, of course. Of course.
So that pretty much wraps up Friday evening and brings us to Saturday morning. And Roger's back this morning, and we found a slight problem with the grade in the merchandise area that needs to be corrected immediately.
Morning, Roger. What is he doing?
The ground is too high to
Yeah.
put the styrofoam and stuff in, so
Yeah.
we gotta dig it out so we can put gravel in there so it'll be low enough
Okay.
for the concrete.
All right. All that rain we had sure made everything kind of messy.
So I got busy on the excavator under the watchful eye of June Pup. We need to lower the grade of the shop floor about 2 inches to make room for the styrofoam insulation that goes under the concrete. The trick is to get the material dug out and pushed out of the barn without touching any of the structure. One wrong move with this 6,500-pound excavator could cause a lot of damage in a short amount of time. Unfortunately, I had miscalculated my grade when I had done the grade work prior to the building going up. When Milo asked me how low I wanted the band board set, I told him to set them as low as possible, which he did. The only problem is, I didn't take into account the additional 2 inches I needed for the styrofoam. I actually took out more than 2 inches to give us some room for some compacted limestone under the styrofoam. Roger wants to grade this stuff out nice and even, and then use a compactor to make sure the base is stable for when we pour concrete. It only took me about an hour and a half to dig out what we needed and to bring in the crushed limestone, and for Roger and Dwayne to help me spread it out evenly. Now that we've got this taken care of, the Amish crew can go ahead and put the siding on the building next week. All right, Roger Dorsey.
Okay, thank you, Bill.
Thank you for coming out today and getting that done, because once we get that closed up, we're...
Dwayne.
And Mr. Dwayne, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys. After Roger and Dwayne left for the day, Vicky and I went with the kids up to Magnolia to go racing, and Vicky turned Kenny loose with a project of his own for him to do while we're gone. Vicky asked him to clean out this old shed and dismantle it. Kenny did exactly as he was asked and cleaned the shed out, but instead of dismantling, he demolished it. The biggest problem with Kenny's tactic is that he demolished more than just the shed.
What?
Divorce is imminent.
Why? I love that the shed's gone. It was such an eyesore.
Welcome to the remnants of Hurricane Kenny. Kenny not only demolished the shed, he demolished my tractor as well. I now have 2 completely flat front tires. I'm down a bottle of Jack's Wax window cleaner. I've got nails in the yard, a bent bucket, and a broken windshield.
We gotta beat it back down and load it. It's cracked all on the bottom.
Kenny decided to go ahead and start trying to make repairs to the tractor himself. He did get one front tire pumped up, but the bucket is going to be a little bit more than he can handle. So he had to call in reinforcements from the farm, Uncle Bucko.
What'd you do? What else did you destroy? You bent it a little. You thought using the rubber-tired front end loader was best to tear down the shed instead of the track machine with an arm and...
All I did was push it over, and I used that to destroy it.
Uh-huh.
He's got a video of it. I
Yeah.
didn't run over anything. I literally used a bucket to push it over.
As you can imagine, my brother wasn't impressed. The one front tire has a tube in it, and the valve stem's been ripped off. So that's going to require a new tube and the tire to come off the wheel. Help!
I fixed the hoe so you have a hammer. And you guys do this? I did this. You left him unsupervised.
I did not do this. This is Vicky. She left him unsupervised. She turned him loose. I came home to this.
That's a front end loader. It says load, front end loader. Not wrecking ball.
So that brings us to Monday. The guys working on the new shop intend to start hanging siding this afternoon. They first started getting all the trim edging put on around the doors and the soffit, and then started hanging the siding on the back side of the barn. Luckily, we managed to get that gravel moved inside the shop in that area that's going to be enclosed just in time. While the guys are out back working on the barn, I called down to Micro in Baltimore and ordered a dumpster to get rid of the remnants of Hurricane Kenny. Meanwhile, Kenny and Rob are in the shop working on Mom and Dad's 55 Chevy today. They took some measurements for the belts and ordered those from Mark down at A1, and Rob's working on getting the radiator brackets finished up, as well as mounting the MSD ignition box, hooking up the power steering lines, which Mark made custom for us down at A1, and also fabricating a brand new throttle linkage kit for the ATM carburetor. Meanwhile, out back, my brother has formulated a plan to use the forks on my skid loader to hopefully straighten the floor of the bucket on the John Deere. Since the bucket's cracked, Jeremy plans to run the forks through the crack in the bucket and then tilt the forks up to put pressure on the floor and bend the floor of the bucket back down. His plan actually worked. Next, it was time to remove the bucket off the deer, load it on my flatbed dually, and haul it back up to the farm to do the welding work. With the bucket repairs underway, it's time to get the tires fixed so I can at least drive the tractor around. Kenny pulled the front wheel off the tractor, and then me and June Pup took it down to the Goodyear Tire Center in Hebron to have a new tube installed. That evening, I got a text message from Jimmy Dale that everyone's meeting at Texas Roadhouse at 7:30 for dinner with Uncle Bob from the machine shop. So Vicki and I drove the Malibu down and met up with everybody at the restaurant. Tommy, Allison, Billy, me, Vicki, Jimmy Dale, and Uncle Bob. So that brings us to Tuesday morning. Progress continues on hanging siding on the barn, and my dumpster showed up bright and early. This is what's considered a 30-yard dumpster. We're allowed to fill this with anything except tires and paint or chemical cans. The truck has a hydraulic winch and a hydraulic dump frame that allows the dumpster to roll back off the truck and set down gently on the ground. Once the dumpster was in place, we wasted no time starting to clean up what was left of Vicky's old shed. The plan was for Kenny to use the excavator to help, and I was going to use the skid loader and the forks to start loading up big pieces. The only problem is, I didn't realize that Kenny has never had any training in operating an excavator. It probably would have been a lot easier if Kenny would have just taken the thing apart and left the walls intact. Unfortunately, there was only one wall left intact, and the rest of the building was in a million pieces strewn all over the yard, along with about 1,000,000 nails. To say I was frustrated would be an understatement. But once I had this one wall straightened up where I could get to it with a skid loader, we got busy. I just hope that I've got 4 tires left holding air on this skid loader by the time I get done.
Never again. Never.
All the loose stuff was a major pain in the butt to try and get loaded. It was almost impossible, and the dust made it almost impossible to breathe.
Hey, my special $17 nail picker-upper comes from Amazon today. I ordered it. I thought they had a rule that nothing could stick up above the container. Hi.
I'm ready for your inspection.
Oh, I'm ready to give inspections. Hey, you did a good job. That looks great. It's like it never happened.
Later that night, Jimmy Dale pulled his Mustang in the shop to put his new Strange Engineering Stainless Evolution disc brakes on the front of his Mustang.
What?
Did you get your Hot Boy brakes put on?
Dude, they're so nice. Like, I got a really nice race car, but that's like, they're really nice.
Well, yeah.
Really nice. So, pro tip, those are going to be available to the public, September 16th or somewhere around there?
Yeah.
They're releasing them for our birthday. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah. You and me got the same birthday week. And
Same birthday week.
yeah,
When's your
yeah.
birthday?
The 16th. When's yours?
Never mind. Don't worry about mine.
Hey, Johnny, hold on.
Oh, you don't want to tell people?
Stop. Listen, please.
What are you doing now?
Putting the alternator belt on.
Oh, I thought it was.
You're still filming?
Yeah.
Putting the alternator belt on, did an oil change. Well, I need to put oil in it to complete the change.
Oh,
but,
God. Yeah, that's important. Don't forget that, Jimmy.
Yeah, let's just go ahead and pull the valve cover off so we don't forget that part. Otherwise, I crack it off and then it starts making squealy noises. And
You
then
have to take a valve cover off to put oil in this raggedy Johnny?
yeah, it's a real race car. Real race car. No oil filler caps around here.
We can't put it in through the vacuum?
I mean, you could if you wanted to wait 3 hours to do it. Yeah, you probably could do it that way.
Today is Wednesday, August 30th, and I've got some special errands to run in town today in preparation for this evening. Tonight is Vicky's 51st birthday, so I decided to take that little blue S10 into town and visit the gift shop at Griffin's Flowers. I picked out an arrangement for Vicky and they had it ready for me in about 30 minutes. This is my first time driving the little blue S10 since we brought it home from Mansfield about a week ago. The truck drives really nice, although not having power steering or power brakes is a little different from what I'm used to in the Malibu. My dad stopped by for a few minutes today to check out progress on the new shop and watch the guys hang some of the last pieces of metal roofing on the front side of the building. Tomorrow they plan to finish up the dormers and then finally finish up with the back side of the roof. I also got my tire picked up down at Bowman Goodyear for the John Deere, and Kenny got it put back on this afternoon. Meanwhile, in the shop, work continues on the 55, and I stopped in the office to tell Vicky happy birthday, and of course let her know she's got gifts in the house. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
I brought you presents.
Presents? You did good.
Griffin's always does a good job for me on flower arrangements. Anyway, after I got Vicky taken care of, Uncle Buckwheat showed up with the bucket off my John Deere tractor, all repaired and welded back together. Jeremy helped me get it put back on the tractor, but I've still got one tire that loses air, and I've still got a broken windshield. But we're one step closer to having my tractor back in one piece. After over a year of sitting, the 55 finally fired up today and moved itself out of the garage under its own power, and I took it up the road for its very first test drive with the new 400 small block in it. After a quick trip around the block to make sure everything was working okay, Kenny and I got out the garden hose, a bucket of soap and water, and gave the car a bath. Because where I'm about to take this car, it really needs to be cleaned up. My mom and dad bought this car in 1974, and Mom was adamant that the car will never have a stock cam and it will always have a Muncie 4-speed. So I did the best I could with putting this engine together with a combination that Dad should be able to drive without too much trouble. This is a stock 400 small block short block with a set of Trickflow DHC 175cc intake runner cylinder heads and an 11-inch diaphragm clutch. I took Dad for a ride in the car up to Outville, and I let him drive it home. Dad didn't have any problem with the clutch or the throttle and went through the gears like he'd been driving the car yesterday. All right, Squirrel, I'm ready.
All right, so everybody's been asking, where are we going to be? We are going to be at the Kent Rose Arm Drop Revival. It's at the Combs Airport in Hager Hill, Kentucky. And I'll have Bill put up the address at the end of the video. But we have a lot in store. There are 100 big wheels already assembled. And the first 100 kids who are age 3 to 7 who get registered get to keep the big wheel and race it down the airstrip. And look at this.
What's this?
100 goodie bags. Every kid is also getting a goodie bag with a nitrous bottle keychain.
Thanks to
How cool
Nitrous
is that?
Express.
Yeah, thanks to Nitrous Express. Thank you also to the American Legion in Ohio, Huber Heights Post 200, who helped with donations for all this stuff. So
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. And so 100 goodie bags. My mom, bless her heart, she assembled all these for me. And the bike. Did you show that bike outside?
Yep, I got video of the bike. Let's show the bike. Here's the bike.
There's the bike. Come see me at the SRC tent. $5 chances to win that bike. It is a rare, hold on, I wrote it down. It's a Schwinn Orange County Stingray chopper bike. They are not made anymore. They're very rare.
And it's brand new.
It's brand new. Kenny assembled it right out of the box. Bill, Billy, and Tommy signed it. So
I haven't signed it yet.
you're going to sign it. Okay. Anyway, come see me. $5 per chance to win that thing. You have to be present because we're going to draw the winner Saturday. And
You have to be there.
yeah, you got to be there. We're not shipping the bike.
Okay, what else?
Also, there's going to be runner-up gifts. If you don't win the bike, we have a donation of a nitrous bottle.
Nice.
We have banners. We have NX flag. We have a tin sign. Look at this. It's
see
like
it.
a tin sign.
Oh boy.
Yeah, there's going to be...
Maybe I can get Jimmy Dale to autograph the sign.
Oh, that's a good idea. And the bottle. I could have all you guys sign the bottle.
Oh God, here we go.
Oh, my mind's going. Okay.
No,
Yeah,
stop.
so-
All right,
anyway,
what else?
Come see us. Friday, they're doing stick shift class at 6 p.m. And then there's a live band playing classic rock at 8 p.m. Entry is $10. Like, this is a affordable race. Saturday, gates open at 9. Like I said, first 100 kids, age 3 to 7, can register for that big wheel race. Saturday, they're running small tire, hard tire, true street, daily driver. The racing starts at 1 p.m.
Okay.
Opening ceremony at noon. The big wheel race doesn't happen until 7, though, in the evening. Oh, I want also thank you to John Fleece. He's the one who donated that chopper bicycle. Thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
Yes.
The Rambletron has now reached 3 minutes 30 seconds.
It's okay.
Old Man's Garage merch. So, back up for pre-order. I have a lot of people messaging me because fall's here. They want the hoodies. We have zip hoodies back up for pre-sale. We have the Gasoline and Freedom hoodies. We have the shop shirts. Everybody loves those shop shirts. They're back online.
This is where my analytics go.
But listen, I haven't gotten to do details in a long time, so. Anyway, that stuff is all back up there on the website, theoldmansgarage.shop.
Are we good?
Let me look. Yes.
All right, guys, so come see us this weekend. Hager Hill, Kentucky, the Kent Rose Arm Drop Revival. Big surprise here. You ready? We're taking my red Nova, and Billy's going to run it in Daily Driver Plus. I guess there's a Daily Driver class that you're allowed to run a 15-inch DOT legal drag radial, and that's what's on my Nova. So we got the Nova all tuned up. We've done quite a bit of work to it today, and Billy's been out driving around. I went out and took a ride with him, and I think we've got the car straightened up good enough. They allow testing for that class on Friday, so tomorrow we'll be down there testing the Nova. Allison's taking the Dart with her, and we're taking the Falcon and Billy's Nova. So pretty excited about that. Come see us this weekend. Hager Hill, Kentucky, the Kent Rose Arm Drop Revival.